Hey everyone, this is my third of my weekly videos. Let's light the chalice. And I think most of you know I got COVID last week, tested positive. Learned about monoclonal antibodies, and nearly 24 hours later was in line to get those same monoclonal antibodies over in Tampa. I drove to the place. It's the Florida State Fairgrounds, by the way, where they're giving out these things. And a guy greeted my car and said, "Do you have an appointment?" I said, "No." He said, "Then park your car over there." I parked my car over there, waited for a half hour in the heat, and then another car parked over there. And the lady got out and walked towards the building, and I called out to her. I said, "We can go in the building?" And she said, "I don't know." So I followed her, and sure enough, we can go in the building. There's a place to wait for people who were walk-ins that the first guy didn't tell me. So already I was mad. Already I was feeling a little bitter, a little salty. And then I got there, and in it was this Quonset hut giant building where everyone was masked, but there were hundreds of people, and nearly all of them had COVID, like me. The parts per million ratio of the COVID-19 virus was probably more in that room than maybe anywhere in the world. It's this incredibly dangerous room. And it to add to this almost apocalyptic scenario was that it was really hot. And I was there for 7.5 hours. So that's the scene. And I'm reminded of the story for the Time for All Ages at our worship service last Sunday with Farmer Chen, whose neighbors would always hurry over when there was news and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or "Oh, that's great." And Farmer Chen would say, "Maybe." With the wonderful Leah singing her song and telling the story, we learned that things aren't necessarily what they seem to be at first. So I wonder in your life if there's something that looks pretty terrible right now. I wonder if you're in a situation that looks apocalyptic, that looks just annoying. Because here's what's happened to me. I thought to myself, sitting there in the chairs behind all these people, doomed to wait for a long day in this toxic soup of a hot building, and I thought to myself, what would a minister do? So I introduced myself to the people next to me. They were a married couple, and of the two women, only one of them had COVID. So the other person was there in the post-apocalyptic building because she loved her wife. And that was super impressive. And there was a mother-daughter team ahead of me where I think, the mother was the one who had COVID, and she was having a really hard time moving. So some of us kind of banded together. One guy lent his towel that he had brought with him to bring some comfort to this mother. I think she was in her 70s. And then people got hungry. We've been there since the beginning of the day, and I had made friends with some of the staff by then, and they said, yeah, I could leave and come back as long as it didn't take too long. I offered to buy, there was a Burger King nearby. I offered to buy some of them lunch, and they took me up on it. Offered to buy some other people lunch who were waiting. Most didn't take me up on it, and some did. I spent $25 of my own money, not too terribly much. Went, delivered the food, And I bought some extra chicken nuggets because that was what was on sale. $1.50 buys you 10 of them plus the dipping sauce. And I went around the room with my mask saying, does anyone need some? And some did, and some of the people who did were parents with kids who were there, who seemed especially grateful that I had brought them food. The staff brought lots and lots of bottles of water, which by the end of the day were a little warm, but still were there. So this became 7.5 hours, not just of abject misery, but of the opportunity to both give and receive ministry, the opportunity to be in relationship with these folks who were giving the shots, these folks who were receiving the shots, these folks who were helping do the crowd control. I didn't bring chicken nuggets to the guy who told me where to park at the beginning of the day. And at this point, I wish I had. So what are the things that you're dreading about this week, about today? What are the things in your life that just look right now like, oh, this is not going to be fun? And what are the aspects of those things that might actually include the opportunity to give and receive ministry? What are the things where the people, the animals, the living things, the earth offer an opportunity to remember that you're not alone and remember that you are connected? I'm looking forward to Sunday's worship service very much. I hope to see you there. I hope you have a good rest of your week.